He's lying. He's a fucking liar. I walked into the room and asked what happened. They said he got caught red-handed, and now he's trying to cover it up. This morning, my phone rang and everything changed. The truth came out, secrets were exposed. Apologies if the title is unclear, I wasn't sure how to phrase it. Posting from a throwaway for privacy. Background. My wife and I have been together since we were 18. Our sex life hasn't been great after the first year, maybe once or twice a year, and now it's been nearly 3 years. It bothers me, but I love her and our kids, so I don't make a big deal out of it. I know others in similar situations. I've always been slightly overweight but active in sports until an illness a decade ago led to weight gain, reaching nearly 300 pounds. 2 years ago, I decided to change, and now at 6 feet 2 inches, I'm around 200 pounds, the fittest I've ever been. I've built muscle, and for the first time, women have started noticing me, which makes my wife insecure. I've never entertained any of it. The incident. One night, my wife went out with friends, some single, some in relationships. She looked amazing, and I told her so. One of her friends had messaged me months earlier, implying my wife didn't appreciate me and asking if I wanted to hook up. I immediately screenshotted and sent it to my wife. At 4 a.m., she came home, woke me up, and seemed upset. When I asked what was wrong, she hesitated, then admitted she met a guy, he kissed her, she didn't respond at first but then did. They danced and kissed for half an hour. She kept apologizing and begged me not to leave her. My first thought was, it's just kissing and dancing, but I didn't say that, I just comforted her. Later, I reassured her, I know you feel guilty, but don't. I'm not leaving over this, and I love you the same. Right on cue, her friend sent me a picture and video of what happened, which made my wife more upset. My feelings didn't change, and even a month later, they haven't. The aftermath. Since then, my wife has accused me of not loving her because I didn't get upset. She's also accused me of cheating and even being gay, which makes no sense. She questions why I haven't initiated anything despite previously making it clear she hates being touched and doesn't want me to initiate intimacy. She's projecting, and it's putting a strain on our relationship, entirely her doing. How do I get her to stop feeling guilty and move on? This isn't a big deal. Honestly, I was more annoyed when she broke my baking bowl and blamed the cat. Additional context. We've been to multiple couples counselors and sex therapists, most recently last September. My wife always feels like they side against her and refuses to continue. Some therapists suggested she might be asexual or a closeted lesbian, which she strongly denies. People say she wants me to be more forward, but that's not true. She's explicitly stated she doesn't want me initiating anything, including hugs. If she ever did have sex without initiating, she's made it clear it would be pity sex. I do love her. I buy her flowers every Friday, bake her favorite treats, send her love notes, run her baths, and tell her I love her daily. This isn't about lack of love, this is just how I express it. For those saying I should be jealous, if she had an emotional affair, spent hours on the phone with someone, or cuddled up watching movies with another man, I'd be devastated. But a dance and a kiss? That's not divorce-worthy to me. Update. This morning, I told my wife she has 1 week to agree to couples counseling and stick with it. She refused, saying counselors bully her and make her the bad guy. When I explained that my issue isn't the kiss but her behavior since, she stormed out and left for the day. Update. It's been almost 2 weeks since my last post, and the short version is, we're getting a divorce. In my previous update, I mentioned asking her to return to couples counseling and sex therapy. She refused both, saying that our past experiences made her feel bullied. At sex therapy, she stated that unless she initiates any form of physical contact, whether it's sex, hugging, or even holding hands, it would be forced or out of pity. The therapist pointed out how unreasonable that was, which is why she felt attacked. I tried to get some clarity from her with a few direct questions. Are you a lesbian or at least bisexual? Don't be stupid. Are you asexual? I'm not a teenager using stupid labels. What did he have that I don't? Nothing, I just wanted to do it. Why don't you ever want to do that with me? Don't know. What can I do to make you want to? Don't know. Should I take more initiative? Absolutely not. I'll tell you when I want it, don't guess. Since she refused therapy and gave no real answers, I told her that my decision to divorce wasn't about the kiss itself, but her behavior afterward. She accused me of going back on my word, saying that since I was the one choosing to end things, I should be the one to tell our kids. She wanted no part in it. That was incredibly difficult. After I told them, she left for her sister's house and has ignored all my messages since, even when I reached out about the kids, who miss her. Some people asked why she still interacted with the friend who made a move on me. From what I've gathered, my wife tried to get their mutual friends to cut her off, but they refused, so she just ignored her in group settings. On the night everything came out, this friend approached my wife and told her that if she didn't confess, she would send me the video. So, my wife didn't tell me out of guilt, she only did it because she was forced. Talking to other friends, I've also learned more about things I wasn't aware of. Apparently, my wife was sexting a friend's boyfriend a couple of years ago. She has also bragged about having me under her thumb, getting away with giving me nothing, and how I was too afraid to ask for more. As for the friend who kissed me, she apparently saw me shopping one day, decided I was now more attractive, and made a move, not because she genuinely wanted me, but as a way to get revenge on my wife. It turns out this entire friend group is toxic, filled with people who manipulate and sabotage each other's relationships. I won't lie, I feel guilty saying this, but when she left, it was like a huge weight lifted off me. It felt like I had been walking on eggshells for years, constantly afraid of saying the wrong thing, only to be criticized or belittled. Now, it's like I can finally breathe again. I actually feel like myself, like I'm standing tall again instead of being reduced to someone small and hesitant. Today, I spent the whole day baking with my kids, eating Easter eggs, and watching cartoons. I haven't stopped smiling. For once, I didn't have to worry about being too loud, watching the wrong thing, or stressing over a stray wrapper on the floor. Thank you all for your support on my last post, I truly appreciate it. TLDR, we're divorcing. Mini update. Apologies for updating here, but I can only make one update on RA. I also want to take a moment to thank everyone again for their kindness and concern on my previous posts. A special thank you to those on Boru who left such supportive comments after my post was shared there. Unfortunately, the thread was locked before I could see it, so I couldn't thank you all personally. After my last update, many people reached out, asking if I was sure my kids were biologically mine. That thought had never crossed my mind until I read those messages. Last Thursday, I ordered a paternity test, sent it off on Friday, and now I'm waiting for the results. No matter what they say, it won't change how I feel about my kids, I love them unconditionally. But I'm terrified that if the results show I'm not their biological father, I might lose them. I discussed this with my lawyer last week, and he confirmed that if they aren't mine, getting any kind of custody will be significantly harder. I told him that if it comes to that, I'll fight for them to the very end, blood or not, they're my boys. As for their mother, my soon-to-be ex-wife, she has seen them a couple of times along with her mom, who, to be fair, is a genuinely kind person. The kids have been doing fine. I can't say the same for my baking equipment, though. Last Friday, while I was out, she came into the house, took a bunch of my baking tools, and deliberately damaged items that had sentimental value, things that belonged to my grandma and my mom. I can't prove she did it intentionally, and on Sunday, she returned the items, claiming she had only borrowed them. But baking is something I love, and she seems determined to ruin it for me. She was already insecure about the women who followed my Instagram page, which led me to delete it, and now she's gone further. She must have remembered that I was making a cake for my niece's birthday and deliberately tried to sabotage it. I'd been documenting everything with notes and screenshots. As many of you suspected, she has been cheating, although I haven't found definitive proof of anything physical yet. One of her friends, who is in a WhatsApp group where women post nudes and men comment, still need to get more details on that group so I can finally see some boobs again, lol, sent me a lot of screenshots. They show my wife taking provocative photos all over our house, some clearly in our bedroom and even one standing against my car. Apparently, when her single friends hook up with someone, she adds the guy on Facebook and has been blatantly offering herself to them. One of those guys still had the chat history and sent the screenshots to my wife's friend, who then passed them to me. In total, I have over 100 screenshots of things she's been saying and sending, and that's just from the past couple of years. It likely goes back even further. The divorce is still in its early stages. Some days, I feel like fighting for everything, other days, I just want to hand over all the material things, except for the kids, and walk away so I can move on and start fresh. I just want this whole ordeal to be over. If anyone has questions, I'll try to answer them. It's nearly midnight here, but I'll do my best to stay up. Mini update. I got the DNA results back, my sons are mine. Thank you all for your support. Mini update. It's almost 6 a.m. here. My ex-wife had the kids last night, and I'm feeling drunk and lonely. This is the first night I've truly had to myself in about 20 years, and I honestly didn't know what to do with it. I considered inviting someone over just to have some physical connection again, but in the end, I just sat alone and drank for the first time in years. Sorry if this is a dull update, I guess I just needed to vent. I'm feeling lonely and craving some affection. Update. I've officially moved back to my hometown and left the house to my ex. I know some people won't agree with that decision, but I just wanted a clean break, no ties to her or that city anymore. The kids are with me full-time and see their mom on weekends, but only if I make the 5-hour round trip to drop them off on Saturday mornings and pick them up on Sunday afternoons. I know people might say I'm giving in to her demands, but if it keeps my kids happy, then it's worth it. That said, she has already cancelled twice. If the kids ever decide they don't want to go, I won't force them. The divorce is still in progress and won't be finalized for a few more months. On a brighter note, I've been baking a lot more, and I'm loving it. Thank you to everyone who has been thinking of me, you're all amazing. Update. A few months ago, I posted about my wife kissing another man on a night out, despite not being intimate with me for years. At first, I wasn't bothered and was willing to move past it, but she kept turning it into an issue, and eventually, we split. I moved back to my hometown, which is about 2 hours away, and the kids came with me. At first, my ex said the distance was too far for her to visit them on weekends, so I started driving them to her every Saturday morning and picking them up Sunday evening. To make it more enjoyable, we turned the trips into little adventures, listening to audiobooks, singing along to songs, bringing snacks. But I noticed they always seemed happier coming back home than going there. I assumed it was just because their home and belongings were with me. Lately, my ex has been canceling their visits more and more, 3 out of the last 5 weekends. She started making comments like, "They don't even like me anyway," and "You've poisoned them against me." None of that is true. I have never spoken badly about her in front of the kids. If I wanted to turn them against her, I wouldn't be spending every weekend driving 8 hours just so they could see her. Honestly, every Saturday after I drop them off, I cry all the way home. I miss them so much. They're my little best friends. Every evening after dinner, we do chores together and then pick an activity. Sometimes we go for a walk in the woods, bake, have movie nights, or read together. I love working with my hands, baking, cooking, fixing things, DIY, car repairs, and the kids have started taking an interest too. We've been working on some projects together, like building a small clubhouse for them, complete with a mini fridge, games, and a console. We're also building a couple of petrol go-karts from scratch so they can race at a nearby track once they're done. My whole week revolves around them, and when they're gone, I feel completely lost. Then, yesterday, I got a short text from my ex saying she no longer wants to see them. She claimed they always ask for me, don't enjoy being there, and just get in the way. I was devastated for them. I called her immediately, and I'll admit, I broke down crying. I just felt so bad for my boys. She acted annoyed, like I was bothering her, and then said, "Sounds like you don't want them either and just want to dump them on me for the weekends," before hanging up. Now I don't know how to break this news to them. Do I tell them she's just canceling for a few weeks and see how things go? Do I tell them the truth? How do I explain it in a way they'll understand without absolutely crushing them? At the same time, I have this selfish feeling of happiness. I get to have them with me every weekend now. I know it's wrong because they'll be hurt, but I love the idea of having them with me all the time. Has anyone been in a similar situation, either as a parent or as a child? How do I handle this? TLDR, my ex-wife no longer wants to see the kids. I feel heartbroken for them but happy for myself. How do I break this news to them? Update. Giving up parental rights is proving to be much harder than I expected. Both my lawyer and my ex-wife's lawyer have told me that it's extremely difficult to do in the UK, and they've never seen a judge approve it unless there's a serious risk of physical or sexual harm to the children. However, neither of them has ever presented a case where both parents fully agree to it. They've drafted an agreement stating that my ex-wife will no longer have any parental responsibilities, including financial ones. Now, it's just a waiting game for a court date, which they said could take months. The hardest part has been telling my kids. Honestly, I haven't. In the first few weeks, when they asked, I just told them their mom had cancelled again. My eldest actually seemed relieved both times, and last weekend, they didn't even bring her up. It's been over a month since they last saw her. He recently told me he never really liked going to her place anyway because all she did was sleep and yell. He also mentioned that he prefers our new home and feels more at ease here. It makes me feel awful knowing I might have missed signs that he wasn't happy when we were still together as a family. But at least now, he seems more comfortable. Last night was tough with my youngest, though. He was watching The Land Before Time, and suddenly, he started saying he missed his mom. Then he just broke down in tears. It was heartbreaking to watch. I held him, stroked his hair, and reassured him that I'll always be there for him, whether he's sad, happy, or just wants to be silly. I made sure not to say anything bad about his mom or tell him that she doesn't want to see him anymore. But after putting them to bed, I fell apart. I kept blaming myself for leaving, wondering if I should have just stayed and endured it for a few more years until they were grown. I was the one who left. I'm the one making them travel back and forth every weekend. I'm the one who uprooted their lives. At 2 a.m., in a moment of weakness, I drafted a message to my ex, asking her to come back and be a mum again. Thankfully, I didn't send it. I barely got 3 hours of sleep, but I feel a bit better this morning. Her family hasn't reached out to maintain any relationship with the kids, which is honestly painful. They're the ones missing out on these two incredible boys. The only one who ever messages me is one of her cousins, but she seems more interested in how I'm doing than in the kids, which makes me suspicious. It either feels like a trap or some ulterior motive I'm not falling for. On the divorce front, my lawyer says it should be finalized before Christmas. Not that it really changes much. I stopped wearing my ring a while ago, and she's already moved on with a new 20-year-old boyfriend, not the one she cheated with. Still, it'll be nice to finally say, ex-wife, and have it be official. TLDR, struggling to get the courts to allow my ex to officially give up parental responsibilities. The kids seem a bit happier overall, but emotions are still tough. Update. It's been just over 3 months since she said she didn't want to see the kids. Then, within a month, she changed her mind and decided she did want to see them again. I consulted my lawyer, who spoke with hers, and I was advised that since there's nothing legally binding about her giving up her rights, I shouldn't prevent her from seeing them. It would only reflect poorly on me. I agreed but made it clear that I was no longer making 2 4-hour round trips every weekend. If she wanted to see them, she would have to come and pick them up herself. Now, both my kids are constantly in tears, saying they don't want to go. They tell me they feel scared when they're there because she's always exhausted and angry. I've had to comfort them nonstop, and it's absolutely breaking me. The first weekend, she didn't show up, no call, no notice. The second weekend, she messaged to say she couldn't make it. The third weekend, a random woman I've never seen before shows up at my door, claiming my ex-wife sent her to pick up the kids. I refused and told her to leave, making it clear she was never to come back. Next thing I know, my ex-wife calls the police, accusing me of kidnapping my own children. The police, who, as usual, seem to assume fathers are always in the wrong, show up and start telling me I need to return the boys to their mother. They didn't believe me when I told them the kids hadn't seen her in months and that I was their primary caregiver. It was only after I showed them their school uniforms and proof of enrollment in the local school that they backed off. Now, her lawyer is insisting on mediation. So, I drive 2 hours with my lawyer, only for the whole thing to be a complete joke. The mediator was so biased that even my ex-wife's own lawyer called them out, saying, "This isn't right, you're being ridiculous. It looks like we paid you off." The so-called compromise? That I personally drive the kids to her, stay in a hotel nearby, give her money to entertain them, and be available on call in case she struggled. I was stunned. We walked away without reaching any agreement. Outside, I told my ex-wife and her lawyer that the only option was for her or her parents to come and pick the kids up themselves, no exceptions. The next weekend, her parents actually showed up. But as soon as they did, my boys broke down, crying and begging me not to make them go. I tried to stay strong, but I couldn't. I just held them on the driveway for as long as it took to calm them down, whispering, "I don't want this. I want you two forever. I'll see you tomorrow?" As my ex-father-in-law led them away, he gave me a small, apologetic nod. And just like that, they were gone. Later that night I got a screenshot of a conversation my ex-wife had been having with someone saying that she wants more custody so she can start to claim money off me. That night the windows were put through on my house and this was just the start of a campaign that is still going on now, which I assume is to make me react and look violent. I've had my car vandalized, windows replaced and then smashed again, online accusations made about me, my business hit with 1-star reviews, constant takeaways and taxis ordered to my house. My parents' house and car has also been targeted. It always happens on the Saturday night my kids are up there. I ring the police every time and log it and they never care. I've got proof it's her cousins after one of them filmed himself on the street next to mine at 2 a.m. and put it on TikTok. Police don't care. This is my life now. The poor kids having to go up there every weekend against their will. Me being constantly threatened. I've had official paperwork from her lawyer saying she's going to be asking for more custody. Me having to bite my tongue and hold my temper while me and my family are attacked and harassed. Having to see hundreds of people attacking my character on Facebook and Twitter as my ex tells everyone that I've turned the kids against her. Getting random men ringing me saying they are going to come and stab me for abusing my ex, having people say there's no smoke without fire and believe all women etc. etc. I hate the way that this situation is starting to make me become a more hateful person. I'm nothing biases where I didn't before, and I'm also finding myself to become very untrusting of women, as 95% of the people calling me online are women. And it sounds terrible, but I was watching a show the other day where a woman was talking about her abuse situation and my first thought was, she's lying to get him in trouble, and then I had to scold myself for victim blaming. This is really messing me up. You try and do everything right and nothing works. All I want is a quiet, safe life for my kids. OOP's comments. Responding to claims that he isn't doing enough or should take extreme measures. The moment she sent those messages, I went straight to my lawyer. But in the UK, you can't just give up parental rights overnight. It's a long legal process that takes months, and even then, a judge or a committee has to approve it. According to my lawyer, and multiple others I've consulted, it's extremely rare for someone to be legally allowed to walk away from being a parent. I've already spent over £15,000 in legal fees. Do you think I'm just sitting around hoping things magically fall into place? I even applied for an immediate non-visitation order on the grounds of abuse and neglect, but it was rejected because there was no evidence of physical or emotional harm. Legally, I can't stop her from seeing the kids. If I try, I'll be arrested for keeping a mother from her children. The courts won't care about her text messages. They'll look at the fact that she is still, on paper, their legal mother. And there's absolutely nothing I can do about that. My hands are tied. I've consulted every family solicitor I can find, and they all say the same thing: I can't legally stop her. The only thing I can do is stop being so accommodating, so I no longer drive the kids to her, but beyond that, I have no power to keep her away. If I get arrested for refusing her access, it plays right into her hands, which is exactly what she wants. The real victims here are my kids. They're being used as pawns in this broken legal system, and anyone with common sense can see they're better off with me. On involving the police, I've gone to the police multiple times. I have over 100 screenshots printed out. I have video evidence of my house being vandalized. I have recordings of people threatening to stab me. And still, nothing is being done. I have to be perfect in the eyes of the law because, as my lawyer says, the courts will already be on her side simply because she's the mother. That means I can't afford to retaliate, no matter how much I want to. Do you think I don't want to knock these people out? I could take down her crackhead cousins with one hand while sipping tea with the other, but that wouldn't get me anywhere. If I respond to any of their nonsense on social media, it only makes me look bad legally. I've had 3 different lawyers tell me the same thing: never respond to anyone except my ex, and even then, only if it's a direct question or request about the kids. Anything else? Ignore, screenshot, and save it for later. Update. About 4 weeks ago, I shared an update detailing all the chaos my ex and her family had been causing. The day after posting, I finally hit my breaking point. I left my boys with my parents and went straight to her parents' house. When I arrived, they invited me in, and over a cup of tea, I laid everything out for them, every piece of evidence I had. Screenshots, screen recordings, CCTV footage. And then, the worst of it all, messages between my ex and 3 of her so-called friends who turned on her and sent me proof of what she had planned. In those messages, she detailed how she wanted to make me lose my kids, burn down my business, and even have me killed. But the absolute worst was a video from her friend's Real-Ink camera, where she openly said she would tell the police I was a child abuser in the worst way possible. I told her parents that the police didn't care, but if I ever heard from any of her family again, I would post everything online for the world to see. Every single piece of evidence. Then I told them she could keep the house, and that was it. I was done. That night, they called me to apologize, promising that nothing like this would happen again. They also said my ex had agreed to the divorce but wanted to see the kids 1 weekend a month. I agreed. The next day, I contacted my solicitor, and between him and hers, they finalized all the legal details. This morning, I got the signed documents back from her. It'll still be a few months before everything is officially finalized, but for the first time in a long while, I feel like a massive weight has been lifted off my shoulders. Final update. Yesterday, I received the official letter from the courts. It was processed much faster than expected. They initially estimated January or February, but everything became official yesterday. To celebrate, I grabbed a McDonald's and spent the evening watching Christmas movies with my boys. Best feeling ever.